Good afternoon, Wrestling Inc. Happy Friday. It is me, your managing editor of WrestlingInc.com, Nick Hausman, joined here as I am every Friday to have some fun. I don't know about you, TK, but I think it's Happy Hour Friday today. I'm going to have myself a delicious beer here on the show today.
No alcohol at the moment, but Red Bull. So for now.
This is a Three Floyds Brewery Zombie Dust. And if you're from the Midwest area, you probably know this is a very, very good beer. And I'm in a great mood here today. I'm going to pour it into a nice glass. I hope I don't get it in my lap here as I'm talking at the same time. And we're going to have a great day. We're going to have a great next, 25 whatever minutes, TK. We're going to have a blast here. Cheers to you.
Salud. Watermelon Red Bull.
Watermelon Red Bull, she says. Oh, I got a little bit of foam in my mustache. My mustache is too long. Time for a shave.
You look so tanned and relaxed. Kudos to your vacation.
Thank you. I am. I'm very at ease. And this week has also been hellacious. Someday I'll write a book, and this week will be like its own chapter. There's a lot that happened this week. And so I'm very happy to be at the end of it. It was a very positive week. I feel, thank you. You're the first person to point out my tan. I'm tan right now. I'm more tan than I've been in a while right now, TK.
Yeah, I agree.
Got burned. Sat out in the sun too long. Ugh,
is there any peeling, or is it just regular? Oh.
Yeah, my shoulders. Yeah, got the peel going on. Anyway, we got the chat room going here today. Samantha saying, good day to everybody. Daniel Price. Hausman's having his first beer. That's special. Yeah, first beer ever. You know? Wow. Oh, I'm drunk. Well, this is a good show today, not just news-wise. We're going to talk the news here the past 24 hours in just a moment. Later on, if you're listening to us in audio form, you're going to get to hear my conversation with Brutus, the Barber Beefcake.
Nice.
Thank you. Yeah. He is the commissioner for Boca Raton Championship Wrestling. They have their first show this weekend. And who doesn't want to go watch Beefcake play Eric Bischoff in Boca Raton as part of Boca Raton's championship? That's a weekend. That's a fun weekend. Grab the kids, you know? Hey, Brutus in the house here. I really, really enjoyed this. His wife, Missy, makes appearances. She's a delight. Really great. You guys are going to love Missy Beefcake. That's her name, Missy Beefcake.
Legally or just?
Well, that's how she signs her emails. And that's her. And then, when you get an email from her, it pops up as Missy Beefcake. And my fiance Liz saw that. She's like, "Who's Missy Beefcake?" It's like, that's Brutus Beefcake's wife. And she said she kept his last name. I was like,
that's love.
I guess so. Anyway, Missy Beefcake, Brutus Beefcake in the house here later on. And if you're watching us in video form in about 25 minutes, that's going to debut over on our YouTube channel. Go check it out. Jump in the chat room over there. Let us know what you think of this Brutus Beefcake interview. At the end of the show, for everybody, we'll dive in the mailbag. We're going to look at who you think is going to win the men's Money in the Bank ladder match this year. This is going to stem from a discussion we're going to have about a commercial in the mailbag. What a big, we're going to talk about a commercial in the mailbag. People, stick around.
Okay.
I guarantee it. It's good. It's a good tease. News you can use, news you'll leave a bruise. Let's get to it. The Observer dropped a lot of news here today. First of all, Candice LeRae, former NXT Women's Tag Champion, reportedly has interest from AEW. Her contract expired last week. And also Malcolm Bivens, he looks to be headed to AEW once his 30-day non-compete closes. Thoughts on both of these former NXT talents potentially making the leap to AEW?
Oh my gosh. I feel like I'm going to sound like a broken record. And I think I said this last week. I probably said this before. It's just kind of like AEW is a great place to be. However, there are people who go there and there's just not enough. There's great talent. There's just not enough space to showcase talent. And when that, they would be great additions to it, but if they're going to be there and not do anything or not have a great storyline, then I don't want to see them there. I'd rather see them in other promotions. I'd rather see them doing the indie scenes, which they're both capable of doing and making great money. They both have names for themselves. And I know I said this last week that even though you were at WWE for a short or long period of time, you still have the title former WWE superstar, period. Yep. So now the cachet of your money is more. So, yes, I would love to see them at AEW, but I don't want to see them debut at AEW and then have them just sit around and not see a great storyline. Like I feel with Candice LeRae coming towards the end of her stint at WWE, they started using her, but I don't think they used her properly, especially like given her whole indie, like she had such a great indie run. Like it's not like she just came out of a school or anything like that. So it's just kind of like one of those things where I feel like it's on the same thing as like we see somebody great in NXT. And it's like, when are they going to go to the main roster? And then they go to the main roster and you don't see anything. So although it's great and we definitely want to see these wrestlers, get a steady paycheck and not have that grueling schedule of WWE, I don't want to see them get signed and then just not be utilized.
Yeah, I would like to see Gargano. I kind of want to see Gargano and LeRae wind up back in WWE. Just like if he was already there, he was like visiting like not long ago. Seems very chummy, And again, we were talking about this yesterday. There's this very small window here right now where just a couple of people are going to be able to use AEW as real leverage to make some great deals right now. We were talking about MJF yesterday. It's like, of course, take the deal. How many other times is this window going to exist where there's a giant bag of money sitting on the other side? Take the money, right? I would think right now there's a window for Gargano and LeRae with them being in the good graces of WWE. Hopefully, they would be able to have a good offer waiting for them over there and not have to go to AEW where it is kind of cluttered at the moment. A lot of people just going and existing over in AEW. Malcolm Bivens, though, I want to see Malcolm Bivens in AEW. I want to see Malcolm Bivens off the chain. I'm a fan. I think he'd be fit. I think he would fit in well at AEW.
Yeah, he's a great mouthpiece. Like I think we definitely need more of those, more of a Malcolm Bivens. But again, like just please use them. And then even with Candice LeRae and Johnny Gargano, if they do re-sign with WWE, it's like they were definitely using Johnny. That's not the case. That's like not an issue. But some of the storylines were just kind of like repetitive, and they both have so much talent. And it's not to say, they might not be the face of WWE, but there's I think creative wise, they could have used them more. So if they do re-sign, like I hope that they're able to, do something more than what they did before.
Sure. I feel like Bivens, like I know Satnam Singh's already got Jay Lethal with him, or not Jay Lethal. No, it is Jay and who is it? Oh, I know this. He just came back, Sanjay Dutt. I know they're with Satnam Singh right now, but I mean, Bivens feels like the guy to get Satnam Singh over to me. I don't know. I also think of Bivens, and I weirdly think about Hookhausen, the new like Hook Danhausen pairing that like weirdly, I guess, kind of works. I don't hate it. I gotta give it more time, but I think Bivens managing Hookhausen. Now we're cooking with fire then.
Or even using him on ROH, whatever that is, to whatever is happening with that.
That's not a bad idea at all. I'm really interested to know what's going on with Ring of Honor right now with Tony Khan.
I think we all are.
Right? What is it? You set up a ring in the backyard and you just watch Christopher Daniels like take on Bryan Danielson once a week? You just book it for yourself?
I don't know. It's I don't know.
We have let's see here. We have MCAS saying Tony Khan really needs to get ROH on TV, then people can get used, right? Like Malcolm Bivens, like we were just talking about there. But Daniel saying ROH isn't appealing to advertisers. It's got too much stink on it from Sinclair, and Khan using it as a development or feeder system for AEW is insulting to the people who helped build it. Wow, strong words there, Daniel. I don't know that I would go that far. I do want it to be used meaningfully, but yeah, I think, there's a glut of talent out there right now that could use an ROH platform. Bivens, I brought this up to Cross and Scarlett this week. Like, why weren't you guys at Ring of Honor? Still don't really have an answer to that one. I put them on the spot about it. But there's a lot of talent out there you could fill out a nice roster with.
Yeah, and even if Tony Khan uses it as a feeder, that didn't stop NXT from getting a TV deal. So, I mean, I think it's at the point that nobody really knows except for Tony Khan and whoever is in his inner circle what he is doing with it. I think we're just all confused because it's like if he says, okay, ROH is going to become more of a feeder. This is where you're going to see all the new talent. You might see less people on AEW Dark and see them on ROH. then we can kind of buy into that. Okay, that makes sense. But if it's like, okay, ROH is going to be the same as before. Okay, so what does that look like? So it's like, I think we just all don't know, like, what's happening? What is going on? Let us know so that we can, get behind you or hate it. Like, give us something.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, here. And Joe Medrano saying, I don't know anybody in ROH. I know Jonathan Gresham. He's got the belt. I guess Samoa Joe is part of ROH. He's got a belt, right?
And they had a great ROH women's tournament last year that they had a lot of women. Roxy was part of it. Now she's with WWE. They were starting something, and then it just kind of died. So it's a great opportunity to redevelop it. Like, there's so many things you can do with it. It's just that what are you going to do?
What are you going to do with Ring of Honor, Tony Khan? Right?
Yes.
The Observer also saying Rey Mysterio, he's undergone more stem cell treatments recently for various injuries. And there's been some talk of Rey and Dominic not being together moving forward. WWE had previously teased a story where Rey was sending Dominic out on his own, but it then got promptly dropped. Dominic on his own without Rey. Can he stand alone? Are you interested in Dominic Mysterio without his dad around?
I think he has the name behind him. They just need to either get a really great storyline or he has somebody, a good mouthpiece, a good manager.
Yeah.
Either one of those two things.
I like Dominic Mysterio. I think there's a lot of story you can play with Dom. Like, there's a lot of good television I think you can write around the history of Dominic Mysterio. I also just think that they don't have like young stars that appeal to like Gen Zers and stuff. And I look at Dominic Mysterio and I'm like, good for you, kid. But there's another younger demographic that is like, oh my God, somebody like me in this world right now. And I think, you got an Austin Theory out there who's like evil Dominic Mysterio. But you don't have another kind of young baby face. I mean, all the women are very young. That's right. But you don't have a lot of young male baby faces right now. And I don't know. Maybe I'm just giving the Dominic Mysterio character too much credit. But I think there's just a ton to play with and do that with him. I don't know that he needs his dad around necessarily.
He doesn't. He has the last name. And I mean, I know some people don't want to coast on their father or mother's last name, but I mean, he already has. That's already been established. So like, just like Charlotte Flair, like, use that last name, build a storyline out of it, or let's say WWE build a storyline out of it, because the controlling factor. So it's really up to WWE what they choose to do with him. But I don't think it's one of those things where it's like, there's no hope. Like, there's plenty of things to do with him.
Yeah. Well, talking about the bloodline, let's talk family bloodline. Let's talk about the bloodline, right? Jimmy Uso, after the bell, he said what I think a lot of fans have been waiting to hear. It's very likely at some point Naomi's going to join the bloodline, right? How do you feel about him just putting that out there, right?
Okay. For people who've been following me like since AfterBuzz days, I've been talking about this for 5 years. I even have a picture that I meant to send you of Naomi. They're at the table. I'm gonna send it to you. You might have to repost it on social media. They're at this table, and it's the whole bloodline together. And then I'm at the end because it was my idea. But that's all. I have 2 separate pictures. I'll send you both. But I've been talking about this forever, and I know people have been getting on me saying, well, she's really not, she's like married into it, but so what? Like, they have used her before. And I think it'd be great on her end. I think they can add in the women's division, because sometimes, they don't have necessarily a great storyline, or they don't have storylines beyond the major characters. They can, wreck shop through the women's locker room, and there's like a whole story there waiting to play out. And the good and bad thing about this is, with Roman kind of not doing as many show dates, this might be a great thing, so they can like insert more of a storyline, or it could be like he's not there, so they're only going to use, they only have a certain storyline that they can push. But this should have been something happening 3, 4, 5 years ago. Like, this was a slam dunk. And And on top of the fact that WrestleMania is going to be in Los Angeles, and The Rock, we'll see if he shows up or not, but he is in LA, so it's not too far from home. That it just culminates. You have a whole year to build this. So I'm for it. I've been for it. I have receipts talking about it, and I can send you pictures.
Okay, fair enough. I think it's a great idea too, right? And like for her to turn on Sasha Banks and kind of put Sasha in that corner and watching, her go find her group of, guys to go back at the Bloodline. I mean, there's a whole lot of fun people that you can like mix around and play with in that situation.
Yeah. Tamina, and they don't really use Tamina as much, so why not you could use her in this scenario as well. And we already knew, unfortunately, because especially with the women tag team championships, they just put them together for a time period. We knew that Sasha and Naomi weren't going to be together for a long period of time, unfortunately. So right. At least I'm just happy when they give Naomi a storyline. So do something with her. Like there's so many things that you can do with her with all the strengths that she has. The fact that she's been in the company for so long, they're not getting rid of her anytime soon. Get your money's worth. I don't understand. This is a slam dunk.
Yeah. And JD Smith, Digi artist, saying, if we're talking about Naomi joining the Bloodline, yes, please. He also just straight up just gave you a shout out over on the Twitch feed. So another one for TK there. Yeah, I'm all about it. There's a lot you can play with. I think we're on the same page about this one. And we're going to go into our pro wrestling convention news block here. I don't know that we've ever had one on the history of the daily, but some fun news for super fans. Sports Illustrated, the first to announce that the 5th incarnation of Starcast is going to take place at the Nashville Fairgrounds from July 29th to the 31st. It's going to coincide with SummerSlam weekend. The event is being held at Nashville's Nissan Stadium. This will be the first time a Starcast Fan Fest has taken place in the shadow of a WWE event. Previous Starcasts coincided with the Independent Super Show All In or AEW events. Bam, bam, bam. What do you think about Conrad leveling up here? I mean, no knock on AEW, but these stadium shows with WWE, there's a ton of people that come to town for these things. I don't know how this, AEW events, very loyal, great crowds, but this is going to be 3 times the size of what an AEW weekend looks like.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's all about business. Us as wrestling fans, you want to see, the purists sometimes, you want to see it stick to something old, but, WWE is bringing in a certain amount of people. These people are now good. They're already coming with money. It's just kind of one of those things that you're already coming, spending the likelihood of you coming to SummerSlam or WrestleMania with no money in your pocket and you just arrived is slim to none. Because you already know, your hotel's paid for, but you're going to want to buy all the other things. We had a bunch of people from Women's Wrestling Talk. They already had a list of people that they were going to pay to get their stuff signed. You already know what it is. You know the date, you're saving the money. So why not add to that? Because it's all encompassing wrestling. So if you're making your weekend about that, then that would be a good add-on. And then on top of that, too, the likelihood of them saying hypothetically they're paying, $35 to get into the event, you can now charge $45 because you're, also going to SummerSlam. So the tagging between the two makes sense.
Yeah, no, I think it's brilliant. But my question is, Conrad has done. I guess there's only been 4. Why does it feel like 40? I feel like I've been to 40 Starcasts. I've only been to 4. What is left? What is the big get, right? You got Crockett. He was the one to get Punk and bring Punk back to pro wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
Did the weigh-ins with AEW. Who's left? What kind of experience can you deliver to fans that they haven't gotten already? Is there an experience or a person out there you think would really be like, oh man, I cannot believe Conrad pulled that off? I can't really think of one. I'm putting you on the spot here.
I think it would be somebody that is obviously either done the circuit before or not done the circuit before, but has done kind of stuff like this before, but they've kind of taken a break. So now we have, you were mentioning Dominic Mysterio. You have it's generations of wrestling fans. So you might have wrestling fans who this is their first or second time experiencing something like this, and they might not have seen like a Shawn Michaels, or they might not have the opportunity to actually interact with these people or get signings or stuff like that. So those would be not necessarily big gets for us, but it might be big gets for somebody who's just started on, they just got into some money as far as a wrestling circuit. They just started their job, they're 21, they can afford to go to Tennessee, all this other stuff.
I wonder too, with SummerSlam being up the street and, him working directly with, I don't know, Bruce Pritchard, could you arrange like a appearance fee where it's like, can I get Taker for an hour conversation? I'll pay you $50,000, or I'll pay you $100,000. Taker can take half, right? Because if, you look at the model he had before with Starcast, the AEW people were all over that thing. You had AEW panels, right? Video game stuff, music concerts, all these AEW lay-ons. It's not like Conrad is on the outs with WWE by any stretch right now. I wonder if the way that he does stuff that we haven't seen at Starcast yet is he just taps the mine over at WWE. You get New Day at 2, Taker at 5,
Steve Austin doing a live podcast.
Yeah, are we gonna get, because it's Kurt Angle is one of his hosts, right? Are you gonna get Kurt Angle show featuring Matt or featuring Riddle, right? I don't know, right? I it didn't really dawned on me until we were talking here right now, but that seems within the realm of possibility, right?
Yeah, you can even get Kurt Angle's wife for Wives of Wrestling podcast. They can do something with the female wrestlers. Like there's so many different angles that even though we think we've seen it before, a different reiteration based off the people. Like, I would pay to see Steve Austin doing a live podcast, because his interviews are just amazing, and just him interacting with people. He's just an awesome guy. Like I would pay to see that.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, we'll see how this plays out. By the way, we will get answers to these questions. I already talked to Conrad today. He's going to come on next week. He said that we should talk on Wednesday, because we'll have something more to talk about in regards to the event. So that's why we didn't do it immediately, because I guess there's like a couple things that might be coming out here soon, and then we'll all find out how he pulled it off. So we'll find out how close we are here. Lastly here, though, before we throw the ad break for a moment, we'll come back on the other side to the mailbag. But MegaCon, another convention, they've announced that The Undertaker will not sign any of the following. And remind you, it is $229 a signature. But even for $229, Undertaker will not sign your 1991 trading cards. The Undertaker will not sign any of your WWE or WWF event tickets. He will also not do any personalizations, no Dear Chuck, rest in peace, or other inscriptions. That doesn't happen. You get The Undertaker on something that is not a 1991 trading card or a ticket to your favorite WWE or WWF event. How do you feel about the rules, TK?
I'm not. But I would like to. The journalist in me would like to know why and who made these. Is this Undertaker saying that he doesn't want to do any of this stuff? And if so, then why? And if he gives me a reason why, and he doesn't owe me anything, but if he gives me a reason why for me to understand, then I'll be like, okay, I understand why. Like, oh, that reminds me of a dark place in my career, blah, 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 blah. I'll give you all that. However, if you're telling me I'm paying almost $300 to get your signature, and of course the line's gonna be out the wazoo, and you only have 2 seconds, like I'd rather pay $500 to have a 2-minute conversation and for you to say, hi mom, The Undertaker, then I don't know if it's because I've met a lot of like celebrities that it's just kind of like it's more meaningful to me when they actually like know my name or pretend to know my name, or what I'm saying, like when you see some of the WWE superstars in cricket and they actually like give you a hug before COVID, all that little stuff. But if I'm paying $300 and you're just saying Taker and then you're out, I personally will not pay $300. I know there are people will, but that all those little things that you're not going to do, like without a reason, like you should put like asterisk, this is how he feels, or this is this is, or even not put it on him, put it on the company and the reason why, even in small print, I'll take that. But you're not giving me any reasons. It's like, there's going to be another time. He's pretty healthy. I'll wait.
This episode of the Wrestling Inc. Daily is brought to you by Raycon. You know, moms out there, they're one of the few people that actually call you on the phone and they leave you voicemails anymore. They're like, hey, how's your pro wrestling journalism career going? And I'm like, every day is weird. I cover pro wrestling journalism. So, you know, why not this Mother's Day? Why don't you spoil your mom with the gift of quality, premium, wireless audio, courtesy of our good friends over at Raycon. So Raycon are these wireless earbuds that I've got in my ear right now. They are must-have for super moms, you know, all of those masters of multitasking who need to keep their hands free. You know, with Raycons, they can stay entertained listening to their favorite podcast, music. They can take phone calls. I was just doing that in the other room. You got this vivid voice technology, all of it hands-free. Look, wearing them, not touching anything. They're user-friendly for moms that aren't used to like wireless technology. Easy to set up. I just opened up the case, which was super easy to do. And then, boom, on my phone, I went over to the Bluetooth area. It said everyday earbuds. I connected, and I'm listening to the music, and I'm talking on the phone. And this right here is great. They got all these different color options you can pick from. I chose black, like the black color, but you can find mom a color that suits her and her personality and her style. You're going to get these optimized gel tips. They're going to make sure that your earbuds fit perfectly in ear. You get to choose from 1 of 5 sizes. And trust me when I say this, they're not going to budge. Okay, they're not going to budge. Watch me. No budging. I'm swinging my head around. They're staying perfectly in my ear. So for the mom on the go, Raycons offer 8 hours of playtime, a 32-hour battery life with their compact portable charging case just right here. They're priced just for you. You get the great quality audio. You get half the price of other premium audio brands. And Raycon's everyday earbuds right here, they have over 49,000 5-star reviews. So tell your mom how much you love her. Make sure she hears it in crystal clear audio by going to buyraycon.com/wrestling inc to get 15% off your Mother's Day order. Again, that's buyraycon.com/wrestling inc. And we want to thank Raycon for sponsoring the Wrestling Inc. Daily. And we're back. Wow, Raycon, right? Ray J. Do you know him and Brandy are related?
I did. I did. Did you know?
I did know, but I read yesterday somebody didn't know that. I forgot who it was.
Yeah, it was Jack Harlow, but he's like 23, and like people are blasting him for not knowing. And no shade to Ray J or Brandy, and this is completely off topic, but you know, it's a certain, like, Brandy, she was mainstream media, but she wasn't like Christina Aguilera mainstream media. Like, it's kind of one of those things that, you know, and if you grew up listening to the music that's within your, you know, age group, both Ray J and Brandy are not in his age group. Like, Ray J hasn't had a song in like forever. If you don't watch Love and Hip Hop, you know, and then, you know, Ray J is now a tech person. So, you know, it's just like asking somebody about like MC Hammer. And MC Hammer has been in the tech industry for, I don't know, 15, 20 years. Like,
what?
Yeah.
Has he finally developed those talking shoes?
I don't think it's the talking shoes, but he's been doing stuff like in Silicon Valley for a long time. I don't know if you're familiar with the group called Pretty Ricky. There's another guy. I think he's almost close to being a millionaire. And he's been in the tech industry for like 5 or 8 years. So yeah,
okay.
It doesn't, you can't blast them. If somebody didn't know who Michael Jackson was, then I'll be like, okay, because everybody references Michael Jackson, but Ray J and Brandy, and I love them, but I mean, he's 21.
All right. Well, by the way, my talking shoes reference was a reference back to MC Hammer's beloved cartoon series where he fought crime with his talking shoes. I don't know if you remember MC Hammer's beloved. I won't call it short-lived. It was a journey. It is a wonderful show about MC Hammer and his talking shoes. They fight crime. Go check it out.
How many seasons was this?
I think there was like 1, maybe 2 seasons, and it was a cartoon show in the early 90s.
Oh, okay. I missed that one. Okay.
It was great. It was legit one of my favorite shows as a kid. Hammer time. So Onward we go. I believe that Rampage has started, by the way. I think it's an early start time, so we won't go too much longer. We'll let you guys enjoy your wrestling. Also, the interview with Brutus is going to start up here. The interview with Brutus is going to debut on our YouTube channel. Of course, if you're listening to us in audio form, you already heard the Brutus interview. Thank you, Brutus and Missy Beefcake. Delightful time. Time for the mailbag at Wink Daily. That's the account to follow if you want to vote in our daily polls. Today's poll question is about this. I'm not going to read all of this. It's basically there's a commercial for Money in the Bank where Cody Rhodes says the winner gets to go to the main event of WrestleMania. They've aired it like 3 times. Speculation about whether or not this is going to mean the stipulation changes for the briefcase. Spoiler alert, doubt it. And that apparently, according to Dave, Vince already knows his main matches for WrestleMania next year, and the winning person in Money in the Bank may not be main eventing. So to me, when I saw it, I thought it was weirdly worded, but it was like, if they just said has the chance to main event WrestleMania, I think that would have been more accurate. But I get how they pushed it because they wanted it to sound, more important,
Right. I mean, we are 2 months from this, 2 months past this year's WrestleMania. Knock on wood, I hope nobody gets any injuries, but that happens. And we also know that WWE likes to just fire people randomly throughout the year. And Vince changes his mind often. So yeah, I agree with you.
Okay. Well, over on the poll, I asked everybody, who do you think should win this year's men's Money in the Bank? About 200 votes here. 65.6, so 2 and 3 fans say Cody Rhodes. 16.1 say give it to Austin Theory. 9.7%, they picked Edge. 8.6 to everybody else. Are you with most of the fans, TK? Do you want to see Cody take Money in the Bank this year?
I think Cody and Austin Theory are really good ones because, I mean, again, provided built-in storylines. They both have really already kind of built-in storylines that can last a long period of time and build up to that. So I'm definitely in for both of them. I think Cody Rhodes, if they have a good enough storyline leading into WrestleMania, then great. But I think our thing now is looking into SummerSlam. Like, it's kind of like, why are we jumping over? Like, why are we speeding up the whole year? Like, it's already going by fast enough. Through the pandemic, we've already went 10 years forward, 10 years back. I don't even know what year it is anymore. So can we just like take it month by month and just be happy that, people are not, keeling over through COVID? Like, let's just do that. Let's just live.
And like Cody will tell you, you don't live in a glass house or whatever he said on the first episode back of Dynamite after the pandemic hit. But, with Cody, I get the vibe. It's like fantasy camp. Like, this first year back is going to be full on fantasy camp. Money in the Bank win, the story tells itself. People seem to want it. Why mess with success, right? I think people want Cody to win Money in the Bank. I think they want him to come out on Raw the next night and honorably cash it in and say, I'm going to see you at SummerSlam, Roman Reigns, right? Call his shot. You don't do it dastardly. You win it. You call your shot. That's how you set up your SummerSlam main event. I hope he gets screwed over at SummerSlam. And you're like, oh, my God, I feel so bad for Cody.
Right.
Goes on, leads a team on to victory at Survivor Series, wins the Royal Rumble, wins King of the Ring on the way to WrestleMania, becomes King Cody Rhodes, and then main events WrestleMania. I mean, literally every box you could check of major accomplishment in a 12-month calendar year. Why not just load him up? Just give him all the accolades,
I like that, except for King of the Ring. I feel like King of the Ring, we should just give it to, because then if that's the case, then we should just let everybody else take a break for the rest of the year. Because we already know, like, the main, it's going to be all that. So I feel like King of the Ring, we can build up somebody else's storyline, which, I think WWE, for the men's side, they're pretty good at having a couple storylines at a time. But everything else, I'm down for.
I don't know.
I just want to give people jobs to do, things to do. Like, you can't sit at craft table, like, the whole year, just waiting for the next WrestleMania.
All right. Well, JD agreeing with you over on Twitch, saying I'm with TK. Give the King of the Ring to Theory or somebody else. But you know what? King Cody has such a nice ring to it, and what? Really show him, Cody. Show him it over at AEW. Look at your push. Look how many things you're doing and getting and seeing and being a part of. Anyway, it's been a great week. Wonderful finale. Thank you, TK. I'll be back on Monday. I'm going to talk to Michael Weissman. Maybe we'll have an interview. I'm not sure. Support the Wrestling Inc. Daily. Run on all the podcast platforms. Support Wrestling Inc. Run all the socials. And come back here tonight after SmackDown for the Wrestling Inc. podcast. TK, anything you want to put over to wrap up the show today?
We had a great interview with Thunder Rosa, so go and check that out at www.talkpod.com. Other than that, you can follow me on everything at TK Trinidad.
Wonderful. I'm at Nick_Hausman. Thank you all so much for tuning in. I will talk to you on Monday. And remember, if you winked, you didn't miss it.